Kana can opt to go into like the straight up tank buster builder where you go for a Blade of the Ruined King into a Stride Breaker generally. Although in this lineup, I also wouldn't mind if he went for a more tanky route, maybe just Blade into then, you know, Chem Tank and then provide some more initiation. As a whole though, I like the Afrika team comp. I do have the feeling that once you get to the late game, they have a really strong front-to-back team fight, a lot of engage. But I don't know if T1 are ever going to fight you on even footing.
I also don't know whether T1 will ever let you get to a late game with a composition like this.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah, this is some pretty classic T1 drafting for early game power and trying to make that one happen. I think Cuz has been very good on the Nidalee. Him and Faker work very well together with bubbles connecting, and then the Nidalee comes through and does a bajillion damage. Scary times.
And I haven't even talked about this, but obviously this set also works great with the Nidalee, right? It's not as oppressive as a Renekton, but it still provides dive, provides setup, provides a mixed damage profile, so a lot of these things still apply. And as a whole, well, it's kind of flipped now, where if T1 don't find an early game lead, I think they can still be okay. But generally, like with a poke opposition like this, that's really reliant on finding the damage through your two mid and jungle players, right? And spears in the bubbles, then falling behind against the sign is just basically a death sentence. There won't be a Mountain Soul though, so that's nice at least for T1. That's not one you ever want to go into, but I'm considering a last game, I'm pretty sure that what we're going to see here is T1 just take control early, find a couple of key kills, and then completely choke a freak out of the game.
Yeah. The thing that's going to be difficult is Keria finding a lot of value. Like Magnet Storm doesn't exactly have all of that synergy that it often gets. As Spear going to connect there onto Bang. That's a good start for Cuz as the Crab Rave comes through, of course.
When we saw Rel initially, it was she was considered really good at more of a peeling position, right? Where like you just keep people away from your carry. And I can still see Keria do that very well here. Yeah. He's not necessarily, doesn't really need to engage, because believe me, Afrika will engage for you. Like that's all they're looking to do. And then all of a sudden, the knock-up, the Magnet Storm, the Attract Repel, just provide safety for the rest of your team, and then maybe you can make it work that way.
Oh no, Lehens with a 0-5 Alistar win rate. Very, very sad for a player that has been very good on the Alistar in the past. Dread also 0-2 on this Hecarim, and Keen for the first time picking up the Scion. As Kanna's just waiting for him to attend the lane. Oh,
Kanna also went for Grasp, which is not something you see super often.
No.
I personally would have imagined that he might go for the Conqueror, which is something you see a lot, especially into tanks.
Well, there's the classic answer to the crash down. There's Keen getting punched.
The early auto resets that you can get with the passive from set combined with your Q is really, really nice. It doesn't have Q yet, of course, but just the general threat of that early game is just not great.
Oh, that Facebreaker was just beautiful from Kanna. But answering Q going to be there for Keen. Problem here for the Scion is the fact that Kanna just, with his grit and with the passive, like, oh, just so much health regen. You can see just passively more and more and more. So he can take a lot of these decimating smashes, and Keen is going to be trading a lot of mana bar straight into Cuz, and unless he can actually get enough there, Kanna is just going to be immovable. As another Facebreaker is really nice. Haymaker picked up second from Kanna is going to mean that Keen's life continuing to suck a little bit.
And it's going to for the foreseeable future. I'm really interested to see what build Kanna's going to go here. Like I said, there's a couple of avenues that he can go, and it's going to say a lot about how T1 wants to approach this game. However, what you are doing here is you're getting, with this proactive trading, you're getting Keen really, really low. And that's a good sign, because if Cuz then decides to pay a visit to the top side, you have a Scion that is prime diver material. That's a pretty insane win rate, right? Like that is actually...
Yeah, I mean, this is what Bang played alongside this gentleman here in the mid lane. Just played so many games of Xayah. And when Teddy started picking up so much Xayah, I was like, is this just a T1 thing? If you're a T1, like bottom lane player, like you just have to play Xayah over and over again? Because, yeah, Bang has put in quite a few games on this champion, and for good reason. Certainly was one of the premier champions that he played during the Ardent meta as well, to bring back a bit of a rough time for a lot of fans. As Faker, yeah, he gets back to the lane. Of course, Fly still has his teleport available, and he might just die here as he flashes very late. Interesting. Don't know whether he was ever going to die there, but Better to be safe than sorry, I guess, as Faker will just try and get this shove.
I think with the Gold Drinker active as well, I can see it happen where Faker just goes in for like flash auto Gold Drinker active and then just kind of kills you.
Yep, potentially.
So as a whole, Canon actually able to stack up a big wave on top side, and that causes like I'm out. I'm not actually going to be able to get a lot done here, so I'm just going to peace out and continue clearing my jungler. However, Faker, no such restraints.
Nope, you cannot start this this potential dive because you have 100 health. Faker is going to find Keen. There's the flash. Haymaker comes down, flash forward, and that's going to be first blood very easily here for Canna. Can Keen actually grab him? The answer is absolutely not. As Canna's going to be able to get out. That's a very nice roam once again from Faker. This is what he's been showing us. Like, you don't even need a jungler on the top side of the map because Faker's just always leaving his lane.
And this is, when T1 looks good, they look like this, and I would not be surprised to see more attention going. Your lane is also pushing away from you as Keen, right? Like, you're in a position where you know the lane is going to push into Kana, who has also answered my question. We'll be going for the cam tank here, presumably. So not going for any, you know, more aggressive shenanigans. Really just looking for the early game prio, the early game dominance, but then still building to be a tanky mid-game teamfight threat, which with the amount of damage he has on the team I can get.
Yeah, well, Spear is going to find a minion, unfortunately, and Keen, without flash, is still just going to stick around and going to be okay. As in goes Carrier, gets the Pulverize out from Lehands, misses the Q, unfortunately.
And that's a cool adaptation that we've been seeing more and more from Rels as people all get more comfortable with the champion. Faker, though.
Yeah, has to flash, actually. Okay. That is the real one. Does find the bubble, is Dread down to about 50%, but still very successful.
Which is crashing down as your default state of being, as we see Carrier do here right now. Because then if you mount up, like the Alistair can't actually do a lot about you, and you can just flip him over, hit an attraction repel, and get a cute little trade in.
Well, there's a headbutt Pulv as Carrier in a bit of trouble here. On the horse, will still get stunned as Blade Caller not exactly going to do it, as now Cuz looking for some spears. Control Ward goes into the brush because unfortunately going to miss that one, as now the horse is here. The other horse now going to have to try and get out of there, sitting at about 400 to 500 health. Not exactly going to be the most healthy. Is Fly going to come over and make sure that this Rift Scuttler does go over to Dread, as Cuz not wanting to let this one go, as Faker comes on in. We'll see whether they can actually grab this kill as the bubble does go wide. Crashdown comes forward as Faker. Portal jumping over, but has to come back. Dread still going to be traded most likely. Oh, but no, the Pulverize is too good. Double kill for Fly. Could it be the triple as the Blast going looking to get Carrier out, who remounts and is now trying to escape. Will he be able to do it? Crashdown going to be back off cooldown, but nope, not happening. Fly going to pick up 3 kills in the team fight, and maybe also this this blue buff, and I say maybe, he's definitely getting this blue buff. This is a huge start for Afrika once again.
Disrespect's coming out yet again there from T1. They're trying to throw it all over a Rift Scuttler, Atlas. That is not the way to go. And I'm not going to lie, I saw the performance from T1 coming in over the last couple of matches. I was like, okay, I'm actually expecting a lot of this team now. And then I see this, and I'm like, okay, guys, listen, there is a lot that needs to be cleared up before playoffs, because this is not it. And it starts with this play being set up. This isn't intention a nice bait, but Cuz anticipating a sidestep there from Bang, which Bang does not go for very clearly. Bang's just like, haha, no, I'm out of here.
Yep.
And that in of itself is fine. Faker, you don't have that much health. Carrier has like half health. Cuz isn't actually there. Just a weird, over-aggressive play that doesn't actually, even in the best case scenario, like I think that it's very high variance. And now you're behind with your Pocom.
Yeah.
That's not good. I shouldn't need to explain why, but Victor getting fed this early is immeasurable big problem, as Lehands, these roams, man.
Yep, Dread's going to come through here as well, as there's the showstopper, but I don't know whether Canna can do this. Oh my goodness, gets a big shield there, but you can see Cuz throws a spear and says, nope, I ain't going to be able to help you there, buddy. And now Afrika should be able to head over to Shelly and lock this one down as well. This gold lead moving towards 1,000 and maybe beyond here, as the plates are going to be locked in as well after Shelly does come through.
Now with this draft, SC1, now you're basically hoping for a similar position as or a similar situation as in game number 1, where really, regardless of game state, Afrika will find a way to beat themselves. Because this time, I think the Afrika comp is much more favored. They have the hard engage required to
Yeah.
All with the T1 comp, right? Because T1, they want to shell from afar, or they want to single someone out, blow them up, and then fight on uneven footing.
And that's going to be very, very difficult.
Well, yeah.
You have hard engage options from absolutely everyone. Is Dread looking for Faker, but not going to be able to find it.
And that's why, like, that's not a play you need to go for as T1, because if it was Drake, maybe, right? But it's just a scuttler. It really doesn't matter. And falling behind early in this game, if we hadn't just seen game number 1, this would be the kind of situation where, like, well, I don't know. But we have seen that it's more about how these teams will actually play to their win conditions. Because if Afrika play well, I think they have a really good shot. Nice X-Flash there from Lehends, who is more than ready to help out his buddy. And these roams from Lehends has actually been really good. I've been very happy to see him really regain his form in the half of the split. And it's kind of this trio especially, like, it's kind of the tragedy of Afrika that will individually look good. When it comes to actually winning games, all 3 of them still show a lot of weakness.
Yeah, that being said, Fly keeping up in farm very nicely. Largely due to the fact that he picked up those 3 kills.
Yeah.
Bang as well, actually leaning quite nicely here at the same time as Dread looks for Cuz. Wants to be able to take down these chickens as Cuz is going to get smote. And yeah, Dread is just pretty big. On the Hecker Room right now, 1-0 and 2. And not a lot that Cuz could really do to answer that one right there. And level advantage going to be helping out the horse as now Faker underneath this turret. We'll have to contend with Fly taking this one down. Shout out to Wolf, of course. This is the Zoe turret. Is Keen going to get thrown underneath the top lane outer, but he just walks away and he'll be absolutely fine as well.
Yeah, that's the downside of not going for the Bladed Rune. King build, obviously, in terms of team fights, you're going to have a lot more presence. You're going to be able to make a lot more plays, going big with a showstopper, and then still stay alive to get a big Haymaker shield. But when it comes to the 1v1, you do give up a considerable amount of pressure. And here we see the unfortunate reality is that thanks to those 3 kills and the subsequent pressure, Fly in a smashing spot also got given over a lot of the plate gold, which is where this entire gold lead really comes from.
Yeah.
T1 did find 1 Drake though, and we can still be looking at a Cloud Drake, and then it's like
it'll be my first of the day, so
I think you're okay, right? Like it's fine. And not for Afrika, however, who presumably are going to be the ones that should have like prior over the Drakes relatively soon, because this comp has been accelerated to a point where I feel like T1, they're still okay, they can still find that moment, but it's more about T1 finding mistakes from Afrika and Afrika making mistakes. However, so last series, it seems like more of a question of when Afrika will make the mistakes and how egregious they will be, and that's not a good place to be in, even with a comp and a gold lead like this.
Yeah. And remember, Afrika at this stage last game had a 4,000 gold lead. Now it's only 2. T1 are basically ahead. As Canna will find a bit of Haymaker damage there, but Keen is starting to get pretty tanky now.
He doesn't
As that sidestep not enough from Canna. Yeah, no, you're not going to break the face of this Scion, my friend. As Dread behind this blue buff right now, Cuz not wanting to give this one up without a fight. As you can see, fair bit of vision here for T1. Bang's rotating up though. 4 versus 3 at this point in time as Faker still in the mid lane, and Fly's just going to wrap around, steal away a blue buff very easily. As, okay, Void Seekers, the poke is landing, but it doesn't really do all that much as Lehends not going to find the Pulverize there. Just going for the headbutt. Ow, that one hurt.
I was just about to say Cuz's spears this game have not been super on point, but I held my breath for a little bit there because I figured the moment I say that,
you thinking about it, cast a blessed him.
Exactly.
So, Cuz going to say thank you. As Faker going to land that bubble nicely onto Dread.
Might I cast back your mind to a game against DRX?
Okay.
Where T1 was also in a disadvantaged position. And where Faker was playing Zoe.
And then finds some magnificent bubbles, like that one, collected here by Dread. Paddlestar going to connect once again, Cuz no mana. Area's turned up as well, as now Teddy looking for Bang. Fair bit of damage there. Very nice. Teddy not really under too much threat, as Faker just going to wander through some gravity fields. And yeah, this set not necessarily working out 100% right now, as Keen's getting some decent poke onto this this guy on the top side.
Yeah, so the thing... Oh, Teddy.
Yeah, teleport immediately coming in. Teddy can flash the wall and does so immediately. Attract Repel connected, but Not going to be enough, of course, to save his life. Didn't have the killer instinct, so couldn't use that to get over instead.
It's a rough one, Atlas. Like I think if this was the game #1, I would feel much more comfortable about talking about like what a Freaka needs to do, which in this case pretty straightforward. You play aggressively, you go in hard, and you blow them up, right? Like this is a squishy team comp on the side of T1, with the exception of Set. Carrier is going to be somewhat tanky, but you should still be able to chew through them pretty quickly with your Fed Victor. And Bang is just on par with what you'd expect, right? He's getting pressured a little bit, but you don't pick the Xayah to do well in lane. You pick her to just farm up and then be a huge threat in team fights.
Yeah.
Drake needs to go over though, and most importantly, I'm just looking at a Freak and like, how do they play around objectives? Like, do they set up the vision? Do they respect? Because if they don't, and one person gets picked off, then it doesn't matter what gold lead you have, T1 will be able to find a way back into this game.
Well, T1 weren't able to find any plates, and now Freaka should be able to take this Ocean Drake. As Sion just makes his way back up toward the top side. It is going to be an Infernal Soul. So
oh boy.
There's no clouds. Not a cloud in sight.
It's a bright day. I'd even say.
It's beautiful.
Right, it's beautiful, and it's good news for Freaka Freaks, who might just hope they're able to kind of defend this here. And the thing about Bramblevest against the Set is it's so incredibly strong because Set literally, like, he gains his trading value against you by just
regen.
Yeah. And not only that, but also like by autoing you, right? Like that's how he wins trades. It's just using his Q auto reset. And now T1 is playing a poke comp from a huge deficit, which is the worst feeling in the world. Because
and it's
as we
once again this big gold advantage. At 15 minutes for Freaka, they've done it. They've done it again. At which point do we actually start thinking, oh, a Freaka are going to be able to win this game? Is there a point ever that they're even allowed to think that?
I will not, personally, and that's kind of upsetting, but also makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen a Freaka be in these positions time and time again. However, I feel in this specific scenario, this comp gap is actually insane.
It's
right?
pretty nutty. And like Hecarim as a champion is very, very good. And T1, straight up front to back, like you were talking about, just going to be really, really hard. But, you know, Teddy's farming well. Faker is still doing okay.
And that's my point. But there are scenarios where T1 wins. If Kana finds a big slam, right? He locks up Bang with a face breaker after having slammed the sign into, and Teddy ults in, blows up Bang, goes away with Supercharger. Right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, one of your damage threats is gone. Same thing can happen to Fly. These are the type of scenarios that we're going to be looking for.
Well, there's the train as Keen looks for Faker, doesn't find him, gets the flash out though. Now Kana looks for the backline. Carrier in a little bit of trouble here, not able to get out of the decimating smash. There's a lot of CC now, but Carrier has to flash. Gets a lot of heals. The Chaos Storm following him as he's so slow, but does make it to relative safety. Keen taking so much of this aggro is Teddy. That was a little bit too aggressive potentially, but is looking to try and make his way out. Dread not hit by that bubble, and now it's time for re-engage, but maybe it's actually not, as there's a beautiful face breaker from Kana. Hatemaker keeps him alive. Lehen's in trouble, has to flash the wall as the Scion will be taken down. Faker's not letting the cow go as Fly is hit by the bubble, and Faker doesn't have enough mana for a Battle Star. Oh, that was heartbreaking, but T1 gonna win the fight and now looking for even more.
Why are they hard committing when Bang is in the top lane?
I thought it was so good because Baron wasn't up yet. They chose to find a different way. As, Bang is gonna be able to now turn up and grab a kill onto the Set and demonstrate exactly why they probably should be fighting with him present.
Oh, this is such a deeply upsetting game there, because look at how long it took T1 to actually get through the Sign health, right? Like, think about how long that took.
Yeah.
Imagine if Bang is there.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with either team here, because I think that, listen, engaging here is fine if Bang then decides to rotate to the rest of the team, right? And like, here, they're still trying to disengage, so it makes sense that Bang isn't there. However, the moment this happens, still arguably okay, here you can kite back, but there is a point, which I think I'd say it's here, where like, why do you keep committing? Why are you, Freaka, why are you continuously going in forward here? You're missing your main damage dealer. Yes, you have Victor, but that's not enough. And like,
just chilling on the
listen,
top lane.
and you can look at Bang and go like, Bang, what are you doing? But this is a team call, and this is the problem every single time with Afrika, and this is why we're so hesitant to call this game over. Even though, still, right now, like, this is not a sizable gold lead for T1. They won like one tiny battle, but it's moments like this that give me oh man,
Yeah, no,
just
it's sad.
no faith in Afrika, because it's who makes the call to keep fighting that, to keep re-engaging, to keep in the skirmish without your AD carry there? You can't do that.
Now we're looking for a potential another fight as the red buff is taken by Keen. Over the wall is T1, but Shirley's going to show up.
Oh, Canna.
This is going to be a lot of map control for Afrika. As, yep, Canna very, very deep flank. As we've got 18 seconds on this Infernal Drake. Infernal Soul going to be so important for both of these teams. And T1 not wanting to give that one up without a fight. Canna still just lying in wait as now Bang. Oh dear, this is not what you want. Look, it's so...
And he's there.
Yep, he's still there, guys. Carrier looking for his option. In goes Canna as well. It's pretty good as the face breaker comes down as well, but the Rel's going to be taken out first. Teddy into the back line, looking to try and clean up. And he is going to be able to take down Bang. Canna somehow still alive. The cow's going to be taken out here as Teddy. Can he actually get enough damage down? Canna's still trying to fight this one out, but the Scion's massive. And now Teddy has to contend with everyone. Cuz flashing forward, but Afrika stand their ground and wipe T1.
And here we see the edge, even with a perfect find there on Fly. He's able to stay alive for so long thanks to great use of his Zhonya's. And I got to question the decision not to go for Bang, because I feel like if you hunted to zero in the Featherstorm, it's way easier before he can Featherstorm Redder. Instead, Canna does go for Fly, who is indeed more fed. But what you see is the moment he gets slammed down and the phase breaker doesn't even get used initially, a lot of damage comes through, but it's not actually enough. Teddy can't join that fight, and even when he does, that's like half a second there where he's feared by Dread.
Yeah.
Those half a seconds, those matter. Those are super relevant and are what kind of creates a really big problem for T1, because if Bang dies a split second earlier there, Teddy can get off a couple more autos, maybe he can actually find Fly, because this time the front line is just too beefy, it takes too much time, and this shows why Afrika... It's so crazy to me that I have to talk about this like Afrika is not favored, because they should be Atlas. If you just joined, right? If you're like, why are they talking like Afrika is not, like what is going on? And you have to understand like the position that the team was in was similar in last game.
It was.
Yes, the compositional gap was not as big. This composition literally plays itself, right? We see it there. It's a front-to-back team fight. You have two main damage dealers. Stand in front of those.
Yeah,
That's
and
all.
a lot of the agencies in Keen this time around. Like, he's the one that's able to frontline so effectively. Even in that fight, yes, Bang got cornered, but then Teddy was unable to hit anyone other than Keen, or potentially Dread for like a few seconds, but Fly was completely safe due to the fact that that big Scion body was blocking him from being able to walk forward.
My problem is, I think once Teddy has 3 items, he just solo wins that team fight from that position with the space that is bought from the rest of the team, even though he shouldn't be allowed to.
Potentially, yeah. But let's see whether Bang, on one of his, more famous champions here, can possibly do the same. I want to believe. I do want to believe. His carrier's going to dive forward. Oh no, Fly. Caught out of position. That's a fair bit of extra damage, though, as now Dread looking for his way in. Fly is going to keep himself alive for a really long time. Eventually he does fall down, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. Cuz also going to die as Canna has a lot of grit built up, but now Bang's going to come through and look to try and take him down. The face break is good, but it ain't good enough. Keen's going to be able to grab that one, and now Faker and Carrier looking for their opportunity. Afrika with 4 members still alive now around this Baron. I don't know whether Faker and Carrier can do it, but maybe there's an opportunity. They say no, and Baron also going to be taken down. Maybe it's time to start talking about the Afrika victory, because 23 minutes in, it looks like this Baron going to be absolutely secured, and T1 haven't been able to team fight at all this game.
I'll believe it when I see the Nexus fall.
I mean, I understand. I definitely understand the apprehension.
I think Afrika fans should do so, but what we're seeing here is promising. T1 continuously are now getting increasingly desperate. They're continuously overforcing on Fly, who has Zhonya's, which he uses here like he did last time. And I would like to see T1 try to shift away and go for Bang instead, because I feel like you have a bigger chance of blowing up, because the itemization coming in here from the Victor as well is Verdant Barrier, Merc Freds,
Yep.
and Zhonya's, right? Like, which is just, and now he's Bansheesville, like he's just not going to die. Whereas Bang, yes, he has Featherstorm, which is annoying to deal with, but at the same time, like that's it for survivability. And I think that the amount of time that Fly can stall is a bigger problem. And if you can just kill Fly and then get out, then maybe you're fine. As a whole, though, the reason why T1 is having such a difficult time is because their comp should not be in this position, in this game, at this point in time. Like, this is a comp that you play from ahead, where your poke is incredibly oppressive, and then once you see the moment when the iron is hot, that's when you move in. That's when you go for the big play. I don't know if that's going to happen here, though.
Yeah, it's hard to find those opportunities now. 6,000 gold is the lead. 7. I tell a lie. Very close to 7 anyway for Afrika.
It's okay. I forgive you.
You know, sometimes the calculations are just a little bit difficult. Just simple subtraction can be very tough for a man like myself. As okay, Afrika, 4 members looking for a bit of a siege. As Dread off to the side, there's a wave of wards here that he's going to be able to clear. As the mid lane going to crash in, Dread's just going to keep them buffed up. Looks like T1 have been relatively successful on the defense as Keen takes 0 damage. Bubble's going to connect. Flies Banshee's Veil now down. Aurora the Slayer not going to connect, but neither is the Paddlestar.
And you can sense that Afrika, like we know, right? Like that they have had some issues. Nobody knows this better than Afrika themselves. They really don't want to take a risk. They're playing it safe.
Yeah, cute double knock up there as Cannon's going to take a fair bit of damage. Into the back line goes Dread, though, as he's getting taken down very, very low. Has to ult defensively now, as Voidseeker not going to quite find the mark, but they have zoned out effectively enough to take down that turret. Faker still just looking for any opportunity to take someone down. Not going to be able to find it just yet. And that is just going to be a free inhibitor taken by Afrika. Carrier looking to flank around.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, this is the Infernal Drake that T1 are looking for. Not wanting to let this one go over to Afrika to threaten that soul point. It's going to give them so much control. That being said, I mean, I don't know what T1 are going to be able to do. You can see Afrika all grouped up. Some low-ish health bars, but they're not low enough to be really happy about the situation, as Keen doesn't quite find anything with his ulti, as Dread also a little bit by himself, as Canna doesn't find the face breaker.
Carrier doesn't find the flank. They need to back off.
Yeah, Dread, he might find his. No ultis available at all for Afrika. But now Canna, he's just going to get locked down. Shield is pretty good. Facebreaker as well. Does ulti to get into the back line. Is Bang in a lot of trouble. He is going to be executed as there's the headbutt pole onto Teddy. He's taken down as well. And now it's Baker, the last remaining damage dealer, but he has to flash out. Cuz also, I guess, has a bit of damage, but he's also running for the hills. Flash headbutt pole. And that kitty cat should be taken down. The horse probably going to win this battle as Onslaught of Shadow is going to be used. Not a lot of damage here available in between the cow and the horse. As Blast Cone just going to be taken down so that Cuz can't use it. And he's bouncing away. This is taking a really long time. And he will die, but, you know, bought a lot of time.
This is not what you want to see as a T1 fan, but as an Afrika fan, you're thinking 1%, Atlas. 1%, it's still possible. And honestly, okay, listen, guys, I know, if I curse it, I'm sorry, but I think this is the point where as Afrika fans, you're like, okay, we can look towards game 3, right? Like, this is just, you see the amount of effort put in by T1. I'm actually surprised that Kana didn't just try and smash Keen into the rest of that team there. Because I feel like he was maybe waiting for a carrier play, but instead they waited a really, really long time. Health bar's already low. And there is a reason why we don't see tank set nearly as much anymore. It was considerably nerfed, right? Like, yes, you're still beefy, but the damage from your Haymaker is not nearly as relevant. And even though they blow up Bang, you only need 1 damage dealer, and that's Fly, and Fly is completely fine. Again, goes for the defensive play, and that adaptation from Fly to just realize, okay, guys, in game number 1, it didn't really have a big impact. I'm just going to build defensively, right? Like, look at that.
8-1-7, dude. This is like the biggest Fly has ever been in 2021. It's massive.
And you come into this game as T1 and you see game number 1, and we did this as well, right? We're like, guys, this, you know, like they have an early game draft, they're probably just going to run over them and end it there.
Yeah.
And then T1, again, they don't respect. And what I expect is that Afrika are going to win this game, and T1 is just going to say, okay, we just draft straight up team fight, right? And this is why I said earlier, legitimately, non-ironically, Afrika might be one of the best early game teams that we have within the LCK.
Yeah,
and it makes no sense. I know they're last place, right? But every single time, I'm starting to feel like we should stop saying people disrespect Afrika and just Afrika create opportunities for themselves, because they do it against literally every team. Is their post 15, 20 minutes game not great? Sure.
Yeah.
But you see that the early game consistency is always there. With this team comp, early game consistency is all you need. And right now they're looking poised to take this game and keep the 1% dream alive.
Fly does a lot of damage. Ticking over to 30 minutes and the Baron has just spawned again. Some vision now being put down here by T1, but Afrika still own most of their topside jungle. And this Baron is a very long way away in the dark for T1. Keen just going to be a brick wall in this mid lane. Bang, pushing out topside. His bubble will connect, but it's only onto an Alistar, so there's no real response. This inner turret will be taken down. It's dire straits right now for T1. Is Canna going to rotate over? Teddy just tidying up these super creeps that are flooding into the bottom lane. And Afrika, maybe it's just time to move back to this Baron, start this one up.
This time though, look at the vision.
Yeah, it's much better. Like, it's very, very dark. And this is Afrika that have done their homework, right? Certainly a much better look for them. As, look, Dread now gets in from behind them. They don't start off the Baron. As very feared is Teddy. Not quite dead just yet as the heal does come out. Canna trying to be huge on that front line, but unfortunately, the Rel and the Set, both of the engaged tools just obliterated by Afrika. And what do they have to show for it? Some half health bars on their tanks. That's about it. Of course not on Keen, because he's basically immortal at this stage of the game. And Afrika just going to march it down the mid lane. They already have that bottom lane inhibitor that is up again in 8 seconds time. You best believe that is going to be dead immediately. As T1 looking to try and defend their Nexus turrets. Could this just be the end of game 2? Have Afrika actually done it? And moving us to a full series here against T1. I was definitely not expecting it, as Cuz going to be taken down pretty comfortably here. The Xayah also destroyed though, as in goes Carrier. Can we actually save the game, T1, as Faker does have an extra flash for himself. Fly going to be obliterated. Teddy has a triple kill now.
Teleport!
Yep, we're looking for Dread, who just backs out. He's like, I'm getting into the enemy jungle. Let's see whether I can survive this one. This should just be Baron for T1. Oh God, Chronicler. Have I cursed it completely?
No.
Surely not.
No one curses Afrika but Afrika. let me tell you, Atlas. Honestly, yes, this looks bad. I don't think it matters. I think T1 is going to get the Baron, right? And like, this is a Hail Mary team fight. This should never happen. And the fact that it even happens in the first place is absolutely ludicrous. As we see here, the problem. What do you do here as Teddy or as
Faker, right?
Faker, right? Like, there's a reason why Hecarim is so strong. Like, this man runs you down no matter what. And then there's also a Sion.
Oh, Dread. Okay, Canna's going to hold on to this one. And yeah, everybody else is streaming out of the base. But T1 will be able to grab the Baron.
Listen, because you need to win this fight. You've done that. Okay, your Nexus stands. Now, you need to win the next fight.
At the Infernal Soul.
Because there is an Infernal Soul, and you can't give that over, because then you guaranteed lose the game. Then, once that's done, you need to hold on, win 5v5 team fights again. The comp from Afrika, straight up, you know, you're in a vision, you don't have...
Teddy has cool items, though.
It shouldn't happen. But the fact that we believe says enough. That is possible, right? Like, I mean, collectively.
I mean, everything's possible. I don't know whether it's T1 winning, but I think that Afrika have showed that they can...
Surely not.
Oof. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
Oh, no,
as, yeah, T1 actually just going to move down this mid lane, look for that positional advantage, as Infernal Soul is indeed going to go over to Afrika.
Okay, they're going to go for the game and push, right? Like, they're trying to catch him out of position.
Yeah, is this actually going to work, though, is the question.
Shouldn't.
They are out of position, and if a team is out of position, that's when Zoe shines. Lehens has to use his ulti very early. Keen, decimating smash onto one, and still, Afrika haven't been able to get back into position just yet. Inhibitor turret does go down, and Teddy's just free hitting on this inhibitor. It will just go down. Afrika, no response. 2 inhibitors still dead on T1's side of the map. There are streams of super creeps heading towards this one, as that's a teleport. Carrier gonna crash down as Zoe gets back to base. Now Dread looking for Cuz. Keen had teleported in as well. I think they're gonna give Cuz up for the Ghost, as the Rel also going to be dead. And Teddy still backing. Oh my goodness, this is so dangerous.
That should be it, Atlas. I don't think they can defend 3 versus 5.
Yeah, especially when Canna's desperately trying to find his way back. Teddy looking for Lehens. Lehens finally flashes. I think he was looking elsewhere. Teddy now having to deal with Dread. He's looking for the back. I don't think there's any way Teddy gets out of this one, as now he's looking to chase down the Hecarim. Yeah, you're not going to be able to 1v1 this Kai'Sa, but all he's trying to do is stop that back from happening. Onslaught of Shadows comes in, and the fear is real good. Faker has a Stride Breaker. And Teddy once again going to get denied. There's the showstopper into the backline. Lehens might die, but the Nexus Star is going to be taken down. Another back going to be attempted here as the Nexus is so extraordinarily low. There it goes. Afrika topple T1 in game 2.
It's a valiant effort for T1, and we